Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the annual Future of Health Grant Conference. A special welcome to our partners and to all the startups. We are pleased to see so many of you in the room today. So my name is Mathilde. I will be one of your hosts today, and I will be guiding you through the event. So each year, as you know, we explore a different topic together. This year, we decided to focus on longevity, a topic that resonates uniquely with each of you. So in the registration form, we ask you, what are the 3 words that come to your mind when hearing longevity? And this is a summary of your input. So we see some expected words like health, prevention, health span, or quality of life, but also a few more surprising ones like grandmother, or my favorite one, turtle. Yeah, so today we have invited experts to guide us through the exploration of this topic and help us cut through the noise as we move forward in this conference. Jan-Niklas, tell us more. What should we expect in the next 2 hours?
Thank you, Mathilde. We are thrilled to have so many of you joining us today from different parts of Switzerland. My name is Jan-Niklas. I'm part of the innovation team at CSS, and together with Mathilde and others, I help to run the Future of Health Grant program. As the organizers of this event, today we not only want to make sure you hear interesting keynotes and discussions about healthy longevity, we also want to give you the opportunity to experience 3 important pillars of longevity yourself: physical exercise, mental health, and healthy nutrition. So how do we do that? Let's have a look at our agenda. After introductory words by Stefan Dufour and Bernard Röger, we look forward to welcoming our keynote speaker of today. Unfortunately, this morning we received a call and Professor Ebischer cannot make it today due to unforeseen circumstances. Nevertheless, we are very happy that his long-standing colleague, Dani Bak, decided to jump in and share his insights and views on longevity research and investment. After the keynote, it's time to focus on the first pillar of longevity, exercise, and we will enjoy an active break together before we more deeply explore the topic of longevity in our panel discussion. We are happy to welcome 4 exciting guests: Dani Bak, Filomena Colatrella, Semira Gonce-Nüsle, and Anna Erath. Then it's time to relax a little bit with our mindfulness break so that we have mental health, the second pillar of longevity, covered. Finally, then it's time to review the last year of the Future of Health Grant and also announce the startups that we took into the program for the next few months. And of course, we have not forgotten about the third pillar of longevity, nutrition, and this will be the focus of our joint apéro after the event.
So let's get started. I would like to welcome Stefan Dufour on stage to kick us off. Stefan is the new managing director of EPFL Innovation Park, and as such, he plays a leading role into developing the unique ecosystem that surrounds us. Stefan, over to you.
Thank you. Dear innovator, health experts, esteemed participants, chers experts de l'innovation, de la santé, chers participants, c'est un plaisir de vous accueillir aujourd'hui au nom de la fondation de l'EPFL Innovation Park à notre conférence annuelle Future of Health Grant, sa 3e édition. Comme vous savez, la mission de la fondation, c'est d'aider tous les gens qui font de l'innovation à convertir la recherche en des applications concrètes qui ont un impact sur la société. On construit des écosystèmes et on anime des écosystèmes pour diminuer les barrières à l'innovation et augmenter les chances de succès. À ce jour, la santé est une de nos 3 priorités. avec la confiance numérique et la régénération, donc le changement du climat. On ne pourrait pas réussir dans cette mission, la Fondation, si on n'avait pas le support et la collaboration de partenaires d'exception. Et dans ce cadre de la Future of Health Grant, on a la chance de pouvoir compter sur l'engagement et le soutien de CSS depuis des années. Vous êtes instrumental à notre succès. En témoignage de leur engagement, nous avons parmi nous M. Ruger, le président du conseil d'administration, et je tiens sincèrement à vous remercier pour votre soutien toutes ces années et j'espère que ça pourra continuer. On est naturellement complètement engagé dans ces sujets de santé et on aimerait pouvoir continuer à créer des véritables succès comme on en a eu par le passé collectivement avec par exemple des entreprises comme Sophia Genetics ou Onward ou AC Immune. Voilà, donc je vous souhaite une très très bonne conférence, du succès, beaucoup d'insights, j'espère que vous allez apprendre des choses. Et puis, Monsieur Ruger, je vous cède la place bien volontiers. Merci beaucoup.
Chers toutes et tous, je suis vraiment ravi d'être ici pour cette troisième édition du Future of Health Grant avec l'EPFL. C'est effectivement un grand plaisir d'être ici pour moi pour la seconde fois. Et c'est aussi un très grand plaisir car cette année, nous fêtons les 125 ans de la CSS. Alors vous vous direz, 125 ans, on est un vieux machin. Mais il y a 125 ans, vous pouvez vous imaginer, c'est assez disruptif en 1899 de créer une association solidaire avec pour vocation de mettre sur pied une assurance maladie. On était à l'époque très innovants. Pourquoi est-ce que je vous dis ça? C'est parce que, en étant ici, vous êtes une source d'inspiration pour nous. Je crois que j'ai une mission dans le cadre de la CSS, c'est de conserver cet esprit d'ouverture, de curiosité, de persévérance. En tant qu'ancien entrepreneur, j'ai presque envie de dire de temps en temps un petit grain de folie pour oser et pour innover. Le système de la santé, je ne devrais pas dire tellement le système de la santé, mais plus le système des assurances est un système extrêmement corseté, réglementé. Nous souffrons tous d'un grand cancer au XXIe siècle, c'est la surréglementation. Donc vous êtes notre bouffée d'air frais. Mais ceci ne veut pas dire que nous venons ici comme business angel qui donne un petit peu d'argent au départ. Non, on vient ici pour vous challenger, on vient ici pour participer avec vous, pour rechercher les pépites de demain. Ce que nous souhaitons, c'est vous accompagner et faire partie de votre succès. Nous ne sommes pas un simple investisseur et je crois que cet état d'esprit est extrêmement important. Dans le cadre de notre conseil d'administration, nous avons immédiatement créé une commission qui se réunit 4, 5, 6 fois par année, qui rapporte au conseil d'administration sur tous les travaux qui sont faits dans le cadre de notre collaboration avec nos différents partenaires ici à l'EPFL, mais aussi à l'ETH à Zurich. Donc je me réjouis tout particulièrement d'écouter les débats qui vont suivre. Et puis voilà, vous n'êtes pas venus pour m'écouter moi, mais plutôt le panel. Donc je vous souhaite une grande longévité, en tout cas celle d'aujourd'hui. Merci et à bientôt.
Merci, Monsieur Ruger. As mentioned earlier by Jan Niklas, unfortunately, Patrick Ebischer cannot be with us tonight, but we have the pleasure to welcome Danny back on stage. Please join me, Danny. So Danny is a partner at ND Capital, and he has a long experience as a VC in healthcare in general, life science, right? And also 10 years of academic research in the field. And he has been working closely with Patrick Ebischer over the years. So thank you, Danny, for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So hello, everybody, and thanks for being here. Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure. And let's see, it's a difficult job to be up to Patrick's stature and standards, but I try to do my best. I just got acquainted with the slides today, so you will excuse me if the presentation is not super fluid. Let me see how it works, this. Yeah, so I would like to tell you about the longevity research and investment and how it has gone over the years and what we are trying to do with Patrick and others here at from the EPFL campus. Actually, we are investing in the area and we are setting up a new fund also focused on longevity. Now, I'm sure you're aware that longevity research and investments have been increasing over the years, particularly lately. And there are two main reasons for that. For one, the science about aging is advancing a lot. We are understanding more and more about the hallmarks of aging, the molecular pathways that are underlying the process. And this opens new venues to intervene on these processes, eventually slowing down and if not correct, at least stop or slow down the aging process, right? And with that, extend the number of years without disabilities. But the other driver, which is equally important, if not more, is the healthcare costs in general, which are skyrocketing in our Western societies, but also in developing countries, and are a real struggle for the economies of the world. We do believe, it's pretty obvious actually, everybody can understand, that if we are able to slow down not only the aging per se, but the ancillary chronic diseases and medical conditions that go with it, that this will translate in economic benefit for all, right, and healthcare savings. So today, humans' longevity seems to be limiting at around 120 years. This is a picture of Jen Calmet, documented lifespan of 122. I think she passed away last year or earlier this year. But there are many others, more and more actually, more and more centenarians. But as I said, most of them seem to be plateauing at 120 or so. We know, all of us know more or less what to do to age well: exercise, diet, sleep, good sleep, limit the alcohol consumption, smoking. And a particularly important point for a happy aging is keeping meaningful relationships. This is an aspect that very often is forgotten. But it's not about being old, it's about being healthy and being happy. The question is whether technology can overcome this 120 years barrier. What we know is that there are some species around us that can live much longer than that. We know of some whales that can reach more than 200 years, and some species of sharks have been documented to live more than 400 years. Can the understanding of the molecular mechanism leading to long-lived species be transferred to humans? We believe this is the case. This figure comes from the most cited paper of the 21st century. A Cell paper is a review, appeared in Cell, signed by Guido Kroemer, a good friend, and by the way, an entrepreneur that we have backed in the last years from our VC fund. And you have here a few of those molecular pathways that are at the basis of all the aging process. Things like genomic instability, epigenetic alterations, cellular senescence. We know more and more about the molecular aspects of it. How does it translate into malfunction of tissues, organs, and ultimately the whole body? And we know very well that they are interconnected, right? It's not that touching one, you're going to solve a lot of things. It's rather the contrary, right? You need to touch many of those in order to have an overall effect. And something that is very important to understand as well is that many of them, if not all, are involved in the development of chronic diseases, these age-related diseases that are very typical of aging. We know today of interventions that can lead to extend lifespan in organisms. In this example, I give you two that are really at the very core of the aging process. One is the energy metabolism. The first gene here that is mutated is DAF2, is the equivalent of the insulin receptor in C. elegans. The other one is a gene involved in protein homeostasis. And by acting on these two aspects only, you can increase the lifespan of these C. elegans worms by tenfold. But then as you progress on the evolutionary tree, the extension of this lifespan is less and less, right? Up to twofold in Drosophila flies, and it goes down to 30% increase in mice. This is not by chance, it's because as the species become more complex, the complexity of the aging process and all these molecular pathways that I was telling you about before, they become more interconnected. I will tell you about one of these interventions. This is on the mitochondrial space. This is a company, Amazentis, that Patrick, me, and the rest of the team, we have invested. Actually, it's a company founded by Patrick. And what this company discovered and developed is this urolithin A, a postbiotic inducing mitophagy. It's known that in pomegranates, some berries, nuts, they contain polyphenols and elagitanins, and these elagitanins are metabolized by the microbiome of 30% of you into urolithin A, whereas the other 70% of the population is not able to do that. This is interesting because it means that we can come with this molecule externally, we can administrate it, we can synthesize it, administer it, or consume it. And it's a molecule that induces mitophagy, which is the recycling of all mitochondria into new and healthy ones. And this is one of these hallmarks of aging, the lack of renewal of this powerhouse of the cells, the lack of energy in general in all the tissues. Urolithin, we know that extends lifespan in animal models and improves muscle function in humans. Is a good example of these interventions that go from worms to humans going through mice. In this data that I'm showing you here, it extends the lifespan of C. elegans by 45%. When you give it to H mice, it can increase the endurance of these H mice up to 50%. When you put these mice to run in a treadmill, they can run as young mice do. And in clinical trials conducted by Amazentis, they have conducted 3 of them, they have shown very interesting data, for example, in muscular strength, increasing muscular strength up to 12% in individuals, in elderly individuals. This in the absence of any training, by the way, just by taking the pill. It's not only about muscle function, it's also about immunity, for example. With aging, the number of youthful and naive CD8 cytotoxic T cells decline rapidly. In preclinical models of immune aging and cancer, urolithin increases the number of these T cells and the mitochondrial function, and this translates into a better fighting against tumor and against cancer. In human randomized controlled trials, for example, urolithin increases the number of T cells and the mitochondrial function as well, which open new venues in the treatment of cancer. And not only the treatment, but also the prevention of cancer recurrence, because when you have more of these cells roaming around in your bloodstream, these are the cells that are going to be in charge of identifying new cancer cells and killing them before they establish a new tumor. We have also invested in a spin-out of Amazentis, the company I told you before, in another company called Vandria. And what Vandria is doing is moving from the food supplement into the pharmaceutical/biotech space by developing chemical derivatives of the original probiotic molecule urolithin A. And some of these derivatives have been shown to have a very interesting effect in CNS, for example, right? When you take old mice versus young mice, one of the things that you observe is that these mice are not able to learn as fast as young mice do. This is what the 2 first columns here in black are showing, right? This is measured by how the mice behaves in a maze, in a labyrinth, how it explores the labyrinth. all mice are less able to learn how to do that. But when you administer this mitophagy inducer, you are able to establish the ability to learn in these old mice equal to what young mice are doing. And this is a short-term effect. In a few days or weeks, you are able to establish that. But there is a long-term effect as well, which is probably related to morphological variations in the brain. So in mice model of Alzheimer's disease, is a very common one in which you inject the beta-amyloid peptide, you cause a lot of neuroinflammation. But when you give these mitophagy inducers, by only inducing the mitochondrial activity, you are able to restore, to delete basically this neuroinflammation to the levels that are normal, even in the presence of the injured molecule, even in the presence of the beta-amyloid. Now, Vandria will be entering in the clinic later this year, and the goal is to show that in the clinic, you can prove a beneficial effect in dementia. These companies, by the way, have announced very successful financing rounds earlier this year. Timeline announced 56 million franc Series D with investors like Nestlé, L'Oreal, and others. And Vandria announced recently as well a Series A, 28 million. Investors like Evolution, very prominent investor in the aging space, Dolby, and the Capital, and others. These companies, by the way, come both from EPFL. Now, changing gears, I would like to emphasize the importance of health span versus lifespan. Everybody knows what lifespan is, just how long you live, right? Health span, however, is how long you live healthy. And this is, I believe, even more important for the reasons I mentioned before. It's both a moral imperative and an economic imperative to make people live longer, healthier, right? Moral in the sense that it's of little use to live longer if you are in severe disease, but also it costs a lot of money to society and ultimately is unsustainable. Right? And unfortunately, this is what has been happening in the last decades, where we have been able to increase lifespan for decades when you compare to 1 century ago. But these extra years of life have been accompanied by very severe conditions. We believe that the future is bringing an expansion of health span as well. And it's going to be by an holistic approach, right? It's not only about curing the disease when the disease is full-fledged and all the underlying mechanisms have been there for years, but it's a lot about prevention as well, through nutritional, digital, and wellness interventions, and also the induction of behavioral changes, right? And in order to do that, we need better biomarkers to assess the health status and the aging process. Prevention is already there in a certain extent. When you think at hypertension, for example, that's the obvious biomarker that everybody knows and you don't need to prove it, that if you control that, you are going to avoid very severe cardiovascular events further down the road. Insulin, or glucose, sorry, it would be another one. We need to find other biomarkers that will tell us if we control those, we are going to avoid severe disease later, further down the road, right? These interventions are, of course, from our perspective, our investor perspective, is modality agnostic. We don't care if there are drugs, devices, digital, whatever. What we believe that they have to move from the right end of this slide. What most of the biotech VC has been doing for the last decades is investing in prescription drugs for treatment. We still will do that, but it's not enough. We need to move to the left-hand side of this slide into more prevention. Some of this prevention, we believe, will be paid by customers, and we are seeing this, for example, in the Timeline story. This preventing food supplement is in the market, is very successful in the market, and customers are paying for that. We will see more of that as soon as it is sustained by very solid science and supported by clinical trial. This is fundamental. We will see also moving from, as I said, from drug to ingredients to food, from medical devices that today are used in the hospital, into well-being tech that will be used at home by the patients or customers, right, like you and me, and more moving from digital therapeutics into data monitoring. There are very prominent longevity-focused companies out there, some of them extremely well-funded, like Altos by Jeff Bezos, or Calico by the founders of Google, but many others, small and big. Needless to say that the trend is there. And not only in the other side of the Atlantic. Here in Switzerland, we have been working with all these companies. We have been investors in some of them. We would like to invest in some others. We are very impressed about all of them, and no doubt that some of them will be the Calicos and Altos of the future, and the future of this health span movement and industry. More importantly, or equally important than the innovation that's coming bottom-up, is the recipients of these technologies. Novartis and Roche have been buying biotech companies for decades. As biotech VC investors, there are obvious exit routes for our companies. But in these other areas, nutrition, ingredients, cosmetics, medtech, there are many other players in Switzerland. Unfortunately, the one that is missing is the big wearable companies. But our exit market is not only Switzerland, right? It's the rest of the world as well. And we are very well positioned in Europe, of course. If you look at nutrition, we have three of the biggest, if not the three biggest nutrition companies in the world, besides Nestlé, Unilever, and Danone. And same applies for the ingredients companies, two world leaders here in Geneva next door, MedTech, cosmetics, the two world leaders in skin health are LVMH and L'Oreal in Paris, not far from here. For wearables, indeed, we have to go to the US, and the big players are there. And it's amazing how eager they are to find and to acquire these technologies. And they told to us every other day, what do we find in Europe, how the things are moving. They're very close, and very interesting to see their interest. The global market, it approaches 1.3 trillion and is one of the fastest growing markets of all industry sectors. About 80% of the pharmaceutical market can be allocated into health span, if you want to look under this prisma, because most of it is chronic conditions that are age-related. But when you move away from pharmaceuticals, things like skincare, cosmetics, nutraceuticals and supplements, medical devices, and digital health, even outpace the pharmaceutical market. More and more investment funds focusing in longevity and health span, some of them in Europe. We are co-investors with almost all of them, at least the European ones. And we see the future of healthcare based on prevention, as I said, when possible, based on a deeply personalized data and omics, more and more understanding of the individual needs, and will be all-encompassing, right? Extending beyond the pill. It needs to go beyond the pill because we cannot support treatment-only healthcare in industry, right? It's too expensive, and as I said before, it's bad for the individual and for the society. It will be an industry proactively seeking to increase health span. Switzerland, with its world-class pharma, medtech, diagnostic nutrition, is ideally suited to capture part of the market. And this is a mission in which we are in, together with Patrick, other members of the team that are around today, and we will invite you to catch up with us later at the coffee break. We will announce very soon a new fund exclusively focused on health span. We have done it in the past, in the last years, from our office here in Geneva, in Lausanne, sorry. We have invested in Timeline, Vandria, and many other European-based health span companies, and we expect to do so in the years to come. So thank you very much for your attention today, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me later on in the day.
Thank you so much, Danny. So as Danny mentioned, there is no magic pill, or we need to go beyond the pill, but there are simple things each of us can do to improve our health span. So I would like now to invite Patricia Soave on stage to lead us through a 5 minutes active break. Welcome, Patricia.
Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? Good? Fine. So, nowadays, we can't ignore the effects of prolonged sitting position. And maybe you recognize yourself in this picture. So, it's a real risk for health. And I'm here to promote active breaks. With my company, we've developed a program that proposes videos and workshops and lectures for people who would like to include exercises at workplace. Because we know that it shortens life, and we are talking about longevity, and we know that it can shorten up to 16% the life experience. So before we do some exercise together, because we are going to exercise for 3 minutes, I would like to just explain to you what's the concept behind this program. And there are 3 very important things to remember when you practice these exercises. So first of all, it's based on the movement of the spine. Remember that the spine can move in 4 axes. So it can move in a forward axis, yes? We do it every day. We can move in an extension way, and we can move the back in a side way. And we can also make rotation. So first question, how many times today did you do rotation? You can lift your hand if you did once. Oh, quite a few. Good job. Good job. Most of the time, we do always the same movement. And being seated the whole day behind the chair, we always keep the same kind of movement. So this is rule number 1. When you do exercise, try to include movement in those 4 axes. Then second rule is to breathe correctly. When we do also this exercise that we'll practice together, you can inhale and exhale, counting at least 4 seconds. It's very important because it's going also to release the tension. And it's going also to re-oxygenate your brain. And then, third thing, maybe the most important one, is the regularity. Because we can take pills, that's great, but you have to move in a regular way. And it's not necessary if you don't have time to spend 1 hour every day to the gym, or just say, okay, I feel frustrated because I don't have time. It would be great to move as much. But if you don't have time, just take 1 minute. It's worth it. And you will feel the benefits of the stretching exercises that we will do together. So Mathilde asked me to do exercise, but we will do stretching, because I think that for ladies, maybe it's not very, it's not a great place to do a really strong exercise. So I chose to do a few exercises that are going to follow the principle of the 4 axes, okay? So first rule, it's the active posture. So we can see here a passive posture, okay? Now try to adopt an active one. What does it mean? Feet are grounded on the floor. We are going to involve the abdominals, so pull the abs in, lower your shoulders. And this is the first exercise, because in this position, you can feel the activation of your back muscles, right? We can feel also the activation of the abdominals. And 2 fingers, you can do it with me. You are going to push back and feel the alignment of your back and your neck. And it's amazing because the head, you know what's the weight of a head? 5 to 6 kilograms. So if we have the head like that, it gives more pressure on the neck. It's like having 2 babies on the shoulders. So 8 hours a day, it's quite a long time, and it's quite a lot of stress on the neck. That's why we have then tensions at the end of the day and back pain. So think sometimes to just push back your head and align your head to your neck, right? So now we could be ready to start with the first exercise. I've selected exercises that are not going to be something like that for obvious reason. But be careful to your neighbor, okay? So first exercise, join your hands and breathe in. Stretch, extension of the spine. Extension, extend, extend, extend. Breathe out. Hands on the knees. Breathe in. Round your back. We'll do it a second time. And stretch. And breathe in. Extension of the spine. And then breathe out. Breathe in. Remember 4 counts. And breathe out. Great. First movement. Now second one, side flexion. Cross your fingers. Extend your arms. Active position. Breathe in. To the right side. Everybody's going to the right side. To the right. Yes. Good. Breathe in, bring back, and breathe out. Breathe in. Stretch your spine. And we'll go to the left. Breathe out. Great. Oh, it's so nice. Nice pictures to do here. And breathe out. Now, rotation. So now you're going to cross. Let's do it with me. I do a mirror effect. So you cross your left arm, like this. Place your right hand behind your head. Keep always an active position. And now breathe in, press with your hand, breathe out, and look behind you. Stretch your spine. Breathe in. Let's go further and breathe out. Look behind you and breathe in. And breathe out and stretch more, stretch more. Yes, great. Bring back. Oh, it's great. Now change. Right, left. Yeah, follow me. Fantastic. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Extend your breath. And bring back. Okay, bring it back. Do you feel how much it's good for the back? You know, we are doing a decoaptation of the vertebra because during the day we compress those vertebrae. So we give length again to the spine. And this is so important, okay? So now we are going to stretch also the back part of the legs. It's called the hamstring. Some anatomy today. Hamstring are most of the time tight, also due to this sitting position. So you are going to extend the right leg. Okay, I'm going to change the position of my chair so you can see my back. Extend it. Place your hands behind the body. And now pull the abs in. Feel the connection of your shoulder blades. Do you? Yes? Okay, now breathe in and breathe out. Lean forward. Keeping the toes up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Oh, it's great. You feel the stretch in the hamstring? One more. Breathe in and breathe out. Bring back. Technique is very important because if I do the same thing in this position, no effect, okay? So now the other leg. Stretch your leg. Active position. You have to keep a flat back. Place your hands behind your back. Extend your neck. Breathe in. Breathe out. You can inhale and exhale through your nose if you want. Or through your mouth. One more. Let's go deeper. Good. So 3 times, it's enough. If you do it a few times a day, it will be worth it. Let's do the last exercise. Mathilde, it's fine. I have 1 minute left. It's fantastic. We are going to stretch the neck area because it's most of the time where we have tension, right? You confirm? So keep active position, very important, because if we stretch in this position, we are going to damage the cervicals. So it's very important to have those cervicals that are small vertebra aligned, okay? So now, place your right arm behind the body. You see my hand here, my fingers? Okay, this is a challenge? No, it's fine, huh? Okay, now align. 2 fingers here, and keeping the alignment, breathe in, lower your shoulder, breathe out gently. In, lower your shoulder. One more, in, and breathe out. Now turn your head, place your fingers behind your head and press gently. You look towards the floor. Keep a straight back. One more. Now bring back the head to the neutral position. I would like you to place your hands on the knees, close your eyes, and observe if you feel a difference between the right and the left. The one that we just stretched now, the right side, and the left one. Maybe you feel like an asymmetry, yeah? So what does it mean? We've been stretching the muscle that were tight, okay? So now let's do the same thing on the other side. So cross your arm behind your body, align, remember, very important. And breathe in, lower your shoulder, breathe out. Gently, very gently, don't press too much. Breathe in, breathe out. One more. Now turn your head, place 2 fingers, behind your head, and breathe out. One more. Lower your shoulders. Good. Bring back the body to the starting position. Relax, close your eyes, and now observe if you have the same feeling, same alignment, because we stretch now both sides. So you can see it's really concrete. It gives immediate benefits. So what I told you, it's worth it. So now, promise me that you will practice, that you will include some active breaks during your long days of work. And thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I think these were some great exercises to include in our daily routines. We are now coming to the panel discussion where we dive deeper into the topic of longevity. And it's my great pleasure to introduce our moderator. If we can change the slide. Thank you. Great pleasure to introduce our moderator, Blaise Jacholkowski. Blaise is principal at Zühlke and is actively leading the digital transformation in healthcare. Zühlke has been a partner of the Future of Health grant since the very beginning, and Blaise has helped a lot of our startups. Blaise is a distinguished expert in digital health. Welcome, Blaise. Great to have you.
Now it's, okay, much better, okay. So, good afternoon again, everyone. So I hope now you're really awake, now you're all stretched. So I've been really looking forward to this panel discussion. I think for me that's one of the most interesting parts in this session today. So I'm generally very excited to moderate it. And as we have a dream team of people who have deep knowledge on the topic coming from different angles. Indeed, we have 2 medical doctors who are also entrepreneurs. So first, I would like to welcome on stage Semira Gonzet-Nuslet. Please welcome Semira from Genome. So Semira is a co-founder and chief medical officer of Genomi, as I just said, an epigenetic startup based in Lausanne. Then I would like also to welcome another medical director on our panel, Anna Erat. So Anna, please join us as well. So Anna is director of a longevity center and a lecturer at the University of Zurich. I would like to welcome now also on stage Danny, who you know already from his previous speech. Welcome, Danny. So Danny also has actually a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology, so we'll welcome your insights as well. And last but not least, the CEO of the largest health insurer in Switzerland, Filomena Cotrella. Please join us as well. So we want to have here a reality check because you know there's a lot of hype around longevity, and we want to understand what works and what doesn't, and what can we all expect in the years to come. With regards, of course, to new longevity treatments, approaches, and so on. So without further ado, actually, let's dive into some questions. My only request is that you all speak your mind. So we want to really cut through the noise, as we say, and have your genuine opinion. So actually, I would like to start with you, Danny. So Danny, you have shown on one of your slides that health span doesn't automatically follow lifespan. In Switzerland, life expectancy is now on average 85.8 years, while for men it is 82.2 years, which is, by the way, the third highest in the world for men. So it's good to be a man in Switzerland. Lifespan has been slightly increasing for the past few years, but without counting the COVID artifact, of course, which has slightly reduced lifespan in some countries. But health span is actually deteriorating, mainly because of chronic conditions, as you all know. So the health span lifespan gap has actually increased. It has been widening globally. Now, do you think if we manage to address the chronic conditions and increase health span, we can push lifespan even further, or have we almost reached a plateau in terms of lifespan?
That's a question that many people ask. I don't think that there is a magic limit to lifespan on the 120 years old. But it's not necessarily by tackling the chronic conditions that we will overcome that limit. And the reason is that whereas all the hallmarks of aging will lead to chronic diseases, the opposite is not necessarily true, right? The reasons for chronic diseases may or may not be related to health, to lifespan, to aging. If we want to tackle both lifespan and health span at the same time, we have to tackle these hallmarks of aging, and then you get potentially both. We believe we will get both aspects at the same time.
So do you believe that one day we can live beyond 120 years old, beyond the Jeanne Calment record?
I do think so, yeah, I do think so. There's no reason, there's no biological reason why not. And the biological processes that we know are correlate with a limit in aging, we can revert them, right? Potentially.
Anna, I would like to have your opinion on that. Do you agree, or do you would like to add something to Danny's point of view?
Well, I fully agree that we haven't reached the limit, both in terms of health span and lifespan. But it is interesting, though, that it seems to be, at the moment, with the technology that we have and with the knowledge that we have, we are reaching a limit at the moment somewhere around 120. 122 is the maximum until now. At the moment, as we are speaking, the oldest person is 116, so she's far away from 120, well, relatively far away from 122. I do believe we can reach higher lifespan. I, as a medical doctor, I'm even more interested in the health span, and I would love to elaborate on the health span and really closing the delta between the lifespan and the health span, because for me it is so important to help the people that work with me and the clients and the patients that come to me to really lead a high quality healthy life for as long as possible. This is my personal goal. But yes, I agree with Danny, yes.
So among all the services that you offer in your longevity clinics, what are the two best interventions which have the highest impact on lifespan or health span?
Well, I'm a bit biased, I must say. So I'm a sports physician, so of course I love sports, and I think this is one of the most important interventions by far. And if you combine the sports with fun, with relationships, with networking, with really meaningful relationships, then that's really a winning combo, I believe. And actually, if we talk about sports, the best sport in terms of prognostics when we talk about lifespan is tennis. And I am, which is great. We're in Switzerland, Roger Federer, I mean, this is the sport, but it actually shows, I mean, in fact, it really is, in terms of prognostics, the best sport. And I believe one reason for that is really that you can do it so long, for many, many years, also when you're older. And it's in a combination with the social aspects, the networking, doing it together with someone, and really combine it with meaningful relationships and interactions.
So Roger Federer is lucky. He's a lucky man, right? So now, Semira, you are the expert when it comes to measuring biological age through epigenetic clocks. So could you please briefly explain to us how these epigenetic clocks work and why we should all be interested in knowing our biological age?
Yes, sure. So a biological clock, biological age is quite easy to understand. So it's a very nice measure for patients because it's easy to understand. You are younger, everything is fine. You are your age, it's okay. You're older, something is happening, and that's kind of a red flag. We can compare this to the canaries in the coal mine. And how that is work? There are many different clocks, I mean biological age measurements, but I'd like to speak about the epigenetic ones. So epigenetic mechanisms are the mechanisms that switch the genes on and off. So when you think about it, between a caterpillar and a butterfly, they have the same genes, right? But the genes that will make the wings are turned off at the caterpillar stage. And this is done by epigenetic mechanisms. And these mechanisms are influenced during development between the caterpillar and the butterfly stage, but also for us in humans, but they are also influenced by external stressors, external factors, our lifestyle, and of course by disease. And some of these particular epigenetic markers, very specific ones, are actually acting exactly as the same as the circles that you have in the trunks when you cut them, where you can count the years of the tree. And this was a fabulous discovery made 10 years ago. And when you study them, you can really follow the chronological age of someone. And when you combine these ones together with the ones that react to disease progression, to the impact of environment, then you can come out with this useful biological age formulation that will give you an idea of your health status at a stage, and it can give you an idea if something is likely to come, and you can know it in advance. That's why I think it's really interesting.
So talking about the founder of epigenetics, Steve Horvath, so he invented the first epigenetic clock in 2011. He said that there is no standardization among the different clocks, which depend on the methylation markers you look at and of the reference population as well. So do you think this is an issue, and can we really trust these clocks?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and that's actually a hot topic, I would say, because there are more and more of these clocks, epigenetic-based clocks, and it's true that someone said when you can choose the biological age that you want to have by choosing the clock you will measure. Unfortunately, it's true, but it has to do with two things. First, what's the reference population of the clock? Was it done on the US population, on the Swiss population, like the clock that we developed here, the Swiss clock. So you know that these populations have also different levels of health. And also the other important parameter for these clocks is what was put in the clock, in the algorithm. Was it looking at lifestyle? Was it looking at different health outcomes? And that influences a lot the clocks. So today it's true, there are different clocks. I think it's really important to know them well. What do they really measure to be able to choose which one is the best, or maybe several are interesting.
Thank you for this explanation, Samira. Danny, may I ask you, have you ever done an epigenetic test yourself, and if not, why?
I've never taken one, but last year I took a glycosylation-based biological clock that told me that I was 28 years old. So after that I said, okay, I have still room so I can go for a good bottle of wine and a fat meal to celebrate.
And then you gain 1 year immediately.
Exactly. No, but basically what this made me think and made us think at the team is exactly what you said before, right? We are in a room here with many clocks in the doors, in the walls, and everyone telling us a different time. How do we make the difference between the signal and the noise, between the voodoo and the science? And for us, as an investor, this is a critical thing, right? And it's true in every aspect of investing in healthcare, biotech, oncology, whatever, but it's particularly true when it comes down to investing in longevity. There is a lot of hype, a lot of chatting and talking, and making the difference between signal and noise is not simple.
So what other test did you do? What did you said?
It was a glycosylation-based one, so it means that with age, apparently the glycosylation patterns in your proteins change. Probably, and there is some fundamental science behind it. And the reason is because of inflammatory processes and others. Now, this is the general picture. Boiling down which technique and which company is doing the right things versus and validating things versus non-validating things, that's our real key, is our job, right?
And Anna, in your longevity center, do you measure usually the biological age?
We do. We offer various clocks. But what I would like to really say, and this goes for science and medicine in general, we want to triangulate methods. And the same goes for the biological clocks. So I would personally never just do one clock. I would do many clocks. And in the future, I hope we also will look at acetylation patterns. At the moment, we look at methylation. At the moment, we look at glycosylation with glycan age, for instance, as one brand, but there are others as well. But if you triangulate the tendencies, let's say your chronic age is, in your case, 35, then, and if all those biological clocks show that you're somewhere between 50 and 60, that's a strong indication, I would say, and vice versa. What I also think is very important to recognize or realize is that some of these biological clocks, they change during the day. So in the morning, your biological age might be 30, and in the afternoon, it might be 35. And this was just published just a few months ago.
So it depends if I do a nap or not, if I have a nap.
It depends on if you had that ice cream during lunch break or not. But it's really on a serious note. So if your biological age changes during the day, from the morning to the evening, that's also something that you have to take into consideration. This was just published a few months ago. So, yeah.
Interesting. Danny, you want to add something?
Yeah, I may add something to that, because you mentioned the variability of these clocks over the day, for example, right? Or over the week, over the month. Actually, this happens in many of my biomarkers, right? And even very supposedly well-validated biomarkers like hypertension, right? That I mentioned before. Well, hypertension changes over the day, right? So we know today that measuring your hypertension in the morning with the cuff is basically all close to useless, right? We have seen very interesting companies in the area trying to measure hypertension in real time, bit by bit, and we are convinced that this, for example, it will be a winning strategy to prevent cardiovascular diseases. And the reason why I bring that to the table is because between the supposedly validated and well-known biomarkers like hypertension, glucose, and others, and the biological clocks more or less validated, but it's still very far from actionability, there is a whole shade of grays and a whole area in which we can position ourselves, right? And there is a lot to do in the validation and actionability of what you measure. And for us, this is a big, big theme and the most important aspect of it, right?
Okay, thank you for this clarification. Filomena, now I have some questions for you. So what is the position of a health insurance company like CSS with regards to this new trend of what we call Medicine 3.0, which places greater emphasis on maintaining lifelong overall health, preventing diseases, and optimizing the quality of life, thereby increasing health span, hopefully. So in other words, do you support this paradigm shift and even promote a longevity approach, which is mostly based, as we said, on prevention and decreasing the risks of getting sick?
Well, first of all, I joined the definition of Anna Erath, where we address above all the health span and not the lifespan, because we just offer services and products along, well, the concept that you have to live as long as possible in good health. So I totally agree that the health span is key for us. We are very passionate about the longevity topic. We have different activities in that context, but as you may know, we just follow the trends, we observe the trends, we try to explore with partners longevity issues, longevity activities, longevity products and solutions. But it's very important with regard to our insured people that we have scientific foundations, as you said before in your speech. We need these scientific foundations, and I would say at the present we stress above all, the secondary prevention and tertiary prevention in terms of medical treatments. So that's still the main topic that we cover. Now, we just run some months ago an analysis we have an institute for empirical health economics at CSS. And I think it's very important when we talk about financing the longevity services, products, and activities. And we found out that demography is not the main driver of the health expenditures. And that's important when talking about also with the authorities about financing longevity. Today we have the two health insurance sectors, the basic one and the supplementary one, and CSS supports longevity in terms of prevention, just leading a healthy life. And that's also part of our vision and our strategy. We shifted our strategy some years ago, and we address 3 episodes: live healthy, become healthy, and live with an illness. So, and along the 3 episodes, we promote activities, and I would say in a wider definition of longevity, we address the longevity topic. But that's, as we said before, some criteria have to be fulfilled, and that's the scientific foundation. But we really follow with passion the market. We have many collaborations, and we try also to entertain the dialogue, with our health department, federal health department. But yeah, that's the answer to that.
Thank you. And trying to be even a bit more concrete and talking not only about CSS but more in general about health insurances, do you think that a health insurance should reimburse even for some longevity products and interventions, such as, for example, a collection of digital or biological biomarkers, epigenetic tests, or specific health supplements, which are today all are paid out of pocket, right? And if yes, as you said, will you always require some clinical evidence, or are you also considering to pay for some treatments which are not completely proven yet, but are known to improve somehow physical or mental health?
Well, as I said before, in the supplementary insurance sector, we really cover some longevity stuff, not supplements. till now, and not transfusion of cells or some kind like that. We don't have this evidence. We don't have long-term experiences in that context. And longevity is in its infancy. It's very new, and I think we have really to observe how the developments are in that sector. But we invest in startups, in digital health startups. We just run this event with the EPFL, Future of Health Grant. We want to stimulate the knowledge in terms of epigenetic is a very important topic. The knowledge in terms of longevity, but really understood in terms of health span, to live a good life. And I think at the end, I don't want to cut the discussion now, but I think at the end it's a combination of activities, a good life, be happy, having a very exciting life, I think an interesting life, and all that, these components are key, and the rest is complementary, I would say. All that you said before, Anna, or it's complementary. I think the key of the health span remain the four topics: activity, nutrition, good sleep, and mindfulness, and the good life, an exciting life at the end of the day. But I think this discussion has not yet reached the authorities or the healthcare system in Switzerland. While I'm talking about the healthcare system in Switzerland, we address, mainly in our healthcare system, treatments, becoming healthy. And when we talk about prevention, even with our health ministry, even with Berse before, that's always a question of, you have to prove the effectiveness, not only in terms of being healthier, but also in terms of cost effectiveness. And so it becomes always a very difficult discussion. And I think we have to confront or go into this discussion and having this dialogue with the authorities and with the understanding of the healthcare system. I think we need a shift of paradigm and changing the healthcare systems from become healthy, that's the core, and it remains the core, to prevention. I'm very convinced about that, and I'm also convinced that there are business models in the prevention sectors, but we don't lead this discussion enough with the main players in Switzerland.
So there's still a long way to go, and we are still at the beginning of a journey, as you say. But you also say that I hear that you are open if you receive data.
Completely open, absolutely.
Yeah. If you have a proof, if you have evidence, if you have clinical studies and economic evidence, then
we have platforms, engagement platforms. That's all a little bit, some kind of gamification that we introduce in our products, in our platforms a lot. I think we try to approach longevity or the health span. I would prefer to speak about the health span. We approach that differently in our products, in our services. We just set up 4 years ago, 2 engagement platforms, and we see that people are they have fun, They have fun, they collect points. Now we promoted a coin, a Swiss coin, which will be rolled out within Switzerland. So we just try to set up this ecosystem to just give longevity or the health span a funny side, and that's our approach. And then, as we said before, we founded Swiss Health Ventures 4 years ago. We invest in startups. We promote startups which address the longevity topic, and we just observe the developments. And yes, we are open because we are innovative, we are pioneer, and we want to go forward with all the actors in this area.
So with the startups you invested in, hopefully they scale and one day they put the product on the market.
Could be.
Yeah, great. So actually, let's talk now about prescription drugs. Anna, there are some prescription drugs which are very popular in the biohackers community, such as metformin or rapamycin, both off-patent drugs, which safety has been proven. What do you think of their efficacy with regards to longevity, and are there any other promising drugs in the pipeline according to you?
I think that's absolutely a crucial question. But if I can just get back to the gamification just for 1 second, there are some nice studies showing that gamification in most people really lead to better commitment and adherence to exercise regimes. So just because you have a gym pass doesn't mean that you get healthier. You also have you have to also exercise, and gamification can really be a great tool to motivate. And it's not just intuition; there are really nice studies on gamification. So you can use technology for longevity and for healthy lifestyle. And gamification is most certainly one of them, I believe, because it's fun in most cases, hopefully. In terms of your question, so rapamycin, the target molecule of rapamycin is mTOR, which is the mammal target of rapamycin, and it inhibits the pathways which then lead to inflammation, which means it's in a way anti-inflammatory. And I'm a great believer in that we have to very strongly target inflammation when we talk about aging, because low-grade chronic inflammation is definitely one of the main drivers of aging. And we already saw that when I was at Harvard 25 years ago. We looked in transplant settings and also in reproductive settings at chronic inflammation. And the driver of the reproductive system aging is chronic inflammation. That's also a driving force of infertility. So yes, rapamycin can be very potent. We know that. There was a study published this year in Lancet by the lead author, I believe, was Andrea Meyer. And the team clearly could show that in healthy adults, rapamycin successfully targets all 12 hallmarks of aging. So
it's quite impressive.
Very impressive in healthy adults. However, when these adults were not healthy or suffering from chronic diseases such as arterial hypertension or diabetes, the effect was rather the opposite, or partially dangerous, because, as you know, rapamycin is anti-inflammatory, which means that it's also suppressing the immune system, and so infections were on the rise in these people, particularly the diabetic people. Any person with immune system deficiencies were at risk. Adverse effects were definitely noted. So you have to be very distinguished in when you use and what age, gender, and so forth. So yes, some of these, also metformin, of course, can be very potent. Whether it has a negative impact on the muscle health is still controversial, but these can be in certain populations very, very beneficial. In others, not.
So it's not very fair, because only the healthy people can take rapamycin and extend their life, right?
It's
so
quite
you have
unfair.
to be first healthy, and then you can take the drug. Okay. And Dani, apart from Vandria's drug candidate that you mentioned in your presentation, what is, according to you, actually the hottest new molecule or therapy in the longevity space?
I would have liked to mention Vandria's molecule and timeline, but the reality is that I don't think there is a magic pill that by itself alone is going to solve it, right? Because of the complexity that I mentioned before, all these different pathways are interlinked, interconnected. It's a complex process, aging, right? And all the pieces have to be well oiled, right? This is like a car. Every piece, a racing car, if you want, every piece has to work perfectly well. I would rather advocate for having data, a lot of data about your own health, right? I could give you a very personal example of somebody that was an ultra runner and triathlon athlete, training a lot, in very good health, etc., and then this person discovered that he was missing vitamin B12, probably because overtraining, right? Well, if you don't do the analysis, you don't know that this thing that is so simple, like it comes with food.
If you don't measure, you don't know, right?
Exactly. If you don't measure, you don't know. I'm probably mentioning that everything is going well is as important as trying to find the magic pill that doesn't really exist.
Okay, so Semira, actually, I have another question for you. You recently developed a test in order to measure an epigenetic stress profile, and we know that chronic stress leads to chronic inflammation, and that's very bad for you. So this test should help to understand our chronic stress levels and impact, and what is the impact on our health. So we know that chronic stress, as we say, is a major health issue. So how does this help us to do this test to manage our chronic stress?
Yes, so first maybe one thing, when we talk about stress, that is the test that we developed for measuring stress, we are really thinking about chronic stress. So not only mental, psychological stress, I have to, talk in public today or things like that, but really the stress that comes also from chronic inflammation, from anthropomorphic disorders, and also from mental health. And so we've developed this epigenetic test that can measure this chronic stress impact, and I think it's really a game changer here, because so far there is no real ways of knowing it. And what we just said, what you can measure, you can know, and then you can manage. So I think I'm really excited about this innovation, and I really hope that it gives the knowledge that will lead then to, in the hands of good doctors, of good health professionals, of an ecosystem that can propose longevity and stress relief procedures. This is really a good way of taking care of your longevity potential capital, if I can say.
So can anyone buy your test now, or?
So we don't sell directly to the public, but we have several partners, and yes, don't hesitate to come to me.
All right. So unfortunately, we're already arriving at the end of this panel discussion. I wish we could have had many more questions. But maybe a very final question to all the panelists before we close in. So if we had the right life-extending technologies available today, until what age would you like to live, considering that you could stay healthy until then? So who would like to start? Samira, you have a mic. So.
I would say somewhere around 90 should be wonderful.
You don't want to go above 100? It's your choice, huh?
With the examples that I have in mind, no.
Okay. Anna?
Well, it depends on how my family and friends are doing, really. If they all die and leave a life, I don't think life is worth living. So that's one thing, and the other one is of course our planetary health and geopolitical system and situation as well. So it's difficult to answer, but if you want a number, and I have to give a number, I see that I have to do that.
That's a game.
I would say, let's say 100. 100 is a good.
100 is a good age. Okay, Danny.
For as long as I have fun. I think life is more about quality than quantity.
So what number?
Look, it could be forever. It could be forever. At the pace that things are changing, you have so many things to do and discover. So yeah, why not? As soon as I have fun, I would keep going.
So maybe you'll become immortal. Okay. Filomena.
Not more than 100, but I think it's really key that you have an exciting and interesting and funny life, and I think that's most important thing, to have a healthy life.
But if we can have fun above 100, we should stay alive then,
No,
right?
No, not more than 100. I would say between 90 and 95, something like that. But, I can't, tomorrow or in 1 month, it's perhaps different, I don't know. But I want to have an exciting, happy, and funny life, and that's all, I think.
Okay.
That I can, wish.
So on these wise words, I would like to thank again the panelists. I hope you really enjoyed the discussion today. And now a big round of applause for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Blaise, and thank you to all the panelists for this fascinating discussion. I think it's so interesting to hear the different perspectives from research and medicine over startups and investors to health insurance on this topic that were all reflected in this diverse panel. It's now time for our second active break of the day, where we will cover the topic of mindfulness. And I'd like to invite Neil to lead us through a brief mindfulness exercise.
We've been sitting for a long time. I got about 60 seconds. I'll be introducing something. Let's check he's okay. If you want to stand for 60 seconds before sitting down, it's a perfect time to do it. Stretch the legs a little bit. Get out of the chair. All right, so I was asked to come do mindfulness at this conference, and they said, but put it in the context of longevity. So mindfulness, we've heard about it, it's been in the news for a long time. I'm going to try to boil it down in 60 seconds as to why we care about it and what relevance it has for longevity. First of all, mindfulness is just a tool. It's a powerful tool, but it's one of many. But it's a tool that can have very significant impact on longevity. We just mentioned stress in the panel discussion, right? Mindfulness, regular mindfulness practice, I must say, has been shown to have significant impacts on reducing stress, particularly on chronic stress, which is linked to the aging process and to many chronic diseases. Mindfulness also helps us learn to regulate our emotions and has been shown to be particularly effective at helping manage anxiety and depression, both of which are linked to shorter lifespans. Mindfulness practice also helps promote better sleep. Again, key to our overall health and well-being. Finally, from a physical point of view, mindfulness has been shown to reduce blood pressure and improve heart health. So by incorporating mindfulness into our daily routines, we can have positive mental and physical benefits, leading to a longer, healthier life, therefore longevity. All right, so now's a good time to sit back down and we'll do a short 3-minute practice. If you've done one before, this is a little reminder. If you've never done it before, this is new. If you've done it and stopped, it's a reminder why we need to do it. So to do the practice, we just have a regular posture, something that's not stiff like a statue, but we're not chilled out. That's how you fall asleep. So something just regularly upright, stable. The eyes can remain open, or they can be closed as you wish. If they're open, perhaps just lowering them slightly. And in the first part of this practice, we'll begin just by taking an inventory of physical sensations that are happening in the body. So just noticing perhaps points of contact against the chair or the floor, maybe the hands together or on the legs if there are. Noticing any other physical sensations that are appearing anywhere in the body. And taking an inventory now of any thoughts and emotions that might be present, without necessarily trying to engage with them. See if it's possible to simply observe their presence, really as if we're making an inventory, a list. And now shifting the attention to focus on the sensation of breathing happening in the body. So as the breath is coming in and out of the nose, noticing the breath, the physical sensation of breathing, whether it's the belly or in the chest or the shoulders. If the attention wanders, that can be completely normal. And if it does, simply choosing to bring the attention back once more to the breath. And now shifting the attention, expanding it to include a sense of the entire body, a sense of the body as a whole. This may be a sense of the space the body's occupying, maybe a sense of the entire body breathing, whatever your sense is of the body as a whole. If the eyes have been lowered, or the gaze lowered, allowing the eyes to come back once more. So that practice is very short. It's in 3 parts. The first part was just a present moment inventory. The second part, focusing down, narrowing on the breath. And the third part, expanding to a sense of the entire body. So it's kind of the shape of an hourglass. We do the wider attention, then narrow on the breath, and then wider again to finish. It's very adaptable. We did it in, I wasn't looking at my watch, but I think it was about 3 minutes. You can do it in 30 seconds. You can do it in 30 minutes. So it really depends, and it can be very powerful intervention throughout the day when you feel you need it, or as a regular practice. Again, a lot of the benefits of mindfulness come when we start practicing it regularly, not only as a point solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much. So now we are all focused and relaxed, and we start with the most exciting part of today. We'd like to review the past 12 months of the Future of Health Grant, and I'd like to welcome Nicolas on stage, who is heading the program for CSS. Welcome, Nicolas.
Thank you. Of course, 1, 2, yeah, definitely better. Sorry. So yeah, sorry for the mistake. Yeah, before we unveil the names of the 8 new startups of the cohort, let's take a few minutes to first explain a little bit more what is the Future of Health Grant, because not every face in this room were here last year and the year before. It's our 3rd year, but this time we want to explain a little bit more and to explain as well where we go in terms of the program. Where does it go and what we can expect for the program. First, you didn't miss the fact that it's a joint initiative between CSS and EPFL Innovation Park. Once again, thank you for EPFL Innovation Park for all the resources that they put into this program. It's super well appreciated, and we see the results as we will see it later. This program is designed to be quite different from the other programs. We want to be extremely practical in what we achieve with the program and to provide the right resource to the right startup at the right moment. And to make it super efficient, we split the resource into 4 types of resource. First, there is the coaching. So all the startups will join the program. They will talk to coaches. They are professional coaches. They are provided by the EPFL Innovation Park, and they make an excellent job because they coach startups for InnoSuisse or for the EPFL Innovation Park for many years already. Then we have the mentoring resource. Mentors are coming from the industry. We will present them a little bit later. They are experts, they are professional, they are doing jobs in their big companies, in the healthcare system, and they spend time pro bono, so for free, talking with our startups to make them the most relevant on the market. So it's super appreciated. And what is totally making something different from any other program in the healthcare industry is that we provide CXO as a service. What is it? CXO as a service is our complementary people to their early stage teams. Typically, we focus on teams who have the science. So they are PhDs, they have years of research behind them, but they don't know how to go to the market. And what we provide to these teams is temporary resource according to their maturity of level. If they need to do something on the strategic level, we provide them with someone we can work on the strategic plan. If they want to develop an application, it's someone for developing applications. So there are typically people who are working, not advising, but really working with them on developing their solution. And finally, the grants, the money is coming to support this growth. Joining the Future of Health grant is entering into a journey, and this journey is made of multiple steps depending on the level of maturity. I mentioned that. Typically, the startups are joining in level 1, but not necessarily. They can join in different levels, and they spend time on the level 1 for 3 months to validate the market and really make sure that they are totally relevant to their customers. And typically, but not necessarily the next phase, we can leave them sometimes to work. Then they go into the second level where they start developing their products. And the startups are calling them the product. We call them the MVP because typically it's not a product. A product is more than just an MVP. But they develop this product, and they typically go into the level 3 where they implement the product into pilots, and they start talking to their first customers. And at this stage, they are typically ready for going into this phase. When they leave the program, they join Le Club. Le Club is a gathering of startups who have gone through the program, or some startup that we didn't select it because they were too mature to join the program, but we are interested in what they are doing, and we put them together with companies, hospitals, clinics, and everything, and they start talking about what is the capabilities, what can they do together in terms of pilots or implementations of the solutions on the market. To do that, we gathered some of the most precious partners around, and I would like really to thank all of them. So we try to mix different types of partners around the program because we don't know everything. We don't have the ultimate truth in terms of what is working, what is not working. So we really need to get many types of views on what are successful for the healthcare system. So we have Vaudoise, for instance, health insurance, not health insurance, insurance. We have pharma companies, Pfizer, Takeda. We have institutes like Unisanté, and Semira is a representative of them. We have healthcare providers like Hôpital de la Tour or La Source. We have more recently Confinis with a company specialized in regulation, so they helped the startup in getting into the regulation of their product. Publicis Sapient, a consulting company, and Zulke, Blaise is a representative of Zulke, was one of the leaders in IT and implementing technical solutions on the market in the healthcare industry. So I would like once again to thank these partners. They are very critical. What do they do in the program? They typically spend about 40 to 60 hours per year talking with the startup, mentoring them. And once again, this is pro bono. They are not paid for that. It's just for contributing and trying to help to make this healthcare system to be better. I didn't mention McKinsey, of course. I'm sorry about that, but they are a knowledge partner. We have run many workshops with them, like on the reimbursement, the gamification, or the consumerization of health. They are very interesting subjects that can influence the startups in their strategy. all that for what? For a very good results. This last year, I presented one figure. It was 8.9. It was the result of the satisfaction of the startup. It was already good. And this year, we have a 10 on 10, which is excellent. To the question, would you recommend the Future of Health grant program to the others? So I think we are pretty happy with this. Thank you. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of milestones with the different startups, it's a lot of small achievements or bigger achievements. Just to keep some of them, because I didn't have the time to do everything, to go through, and it would be super too much details on that. But yes, we have startups who are getting the reimbursement by CSS. It's a super critical pathway to go and to have some interesting business model. Some of them launch clinical trials. Most of them raise money. They launch pilots. They revise their logo. They went into the press. Most of them. They hired. Some startups have hired CEOs as well. So it could be a very important hiring. They reworked the strategy. They went into the InnoSwiss system. They got certification, and they reach the market with the market entry. All this wouldn't be possible without the CXO as a service as well. Most of the CXO as a service have been involved in this success. So there is Karine, for instance, Karine Biondi, for the strategy and the go-to-market. Cordelia, she's somewhere in the more or less the same domain. There is Caroline Guessa for the fundraising, and many others that I'm forgetting now, so sorry for that. So how can we make it even more impactful? So this is what's happening in 2025. We decided to be more practical than what we are today, and going more practical is actually involving the healthcare provider in more details. So from next year, we will become a kind of pilot platform. So we keep accelerating startups, but we want to involve the healthcare providers to provide the opportunity to the innovators to go and to implement more precisely their innovation into the healthcare providers. So it will involve, of course, the CSS and EPFL Innovation Park, but also new partners which are joining the program. And what is the role of this platform, the Future of Health grant platform? It's to compensate the lack of time that most of the healthcare providers don't have or have. Lack of time, lack of money, lack of people, lack of skills. And we will provide that with the program. So we will source the right innovation for the right pilot. We will prepare the innovators, we will fund them, we will facilitate the pilots, and finally we will report. Because the objective of this model is actually to demonstrate innovation at a small scale and to be able one day to scale it to the larger size. To get these results, we have 4 new partners which are joining the team. There is Réseau Delta, is the largest GP network in Switzerland, with more than 950 doctors in Switzerland. They will, of course, help us to be relevant on the market with knowing what is going on the real market, on the field. We have MedCap Investors. MedCap Investors is an association of investors in the healthcare system. They in healthcare startups, sorry, and they invest in early stage. So it's perfectly matching the level of maturity of the grant. We have CSEM. CSEM is the Swiss Innovation Center, renowned for AI hardware, wearables, and everything, and sensor and this kind of thing. So they are pretty critical for us to implement and to develop and to materialize ideas that we select for in the program. And finally, ELCA. ELCA is one of the largest independent Swiss IT service providers. And of course, they will be instrumental in helping us to implement the programs, the pilots on the market. They have a strong knowledge of the healthcare system, and they are the right partner for this thing. A last thing that is changing, last year I introduced you Le Club. It was just the concept of Le Club. Le Club has been tested during the year. And this year we go into another scale, thanks to EPFL Innovation Park, with another type of format, other ambitions as well, but this will be revealed a little bit later. Thank you very much. It was the latest news of the program, and now the names of the startups.
To make the same mistake. Okay, so now comes the moment many of us have been waiting for. So we will reveal the names of the startups selected for the fall 2024 cohort of the program. So for this cohort, we had 213 applications coming from all over Switzerland and beyond, so applications from early stage startups typically, and we selected only 8 startups, which means an acceptance rate of less than 5%. So this also means, of course, that a lot of worthy startups were not selected, right, didn't make it this time, and we want to encourage all of them to reapply, so please do so. So now coming back to the 8 selected startups, so these startups will enjoy all the benefits from the program that Nicolas described, so the coaching, the mentoring, the CXO as a service, and of course the grant money. So we selected 3 startups at level 1 of the grant, 3 startups at level 2 of the grant, and 2 startups at level 3 of the grant. So we will now invite each of the startups to come on stage for a 2-minute pitch. And we will be sharp on time because we are already very late. Sorry for that. So we will start with level 1. And I would like to invite our first startup, DJ Elf, to come on stage with Lyle.
First off, hello, my name is Lyle. I am the Chief Technology Officer at DigiHealth. Now, we all know the sounds that your belly makes, maybe when you're hungry or when you're digesting something. Now, these are actually normal sounds. These are your gut telling you you're digesting normally, or maybe not so normally. As we all know, there are many people around the world who do not experience normal digestion. Annually, millions of people around the world will undergo a major bowel surgery. And after these surgeries, the gut will slow down and then need to recover. And during this period of recovery, up to 1 in 4 patients will experience a complication. The impacts of these complications are that they may have to undergo an emergency surgery, they may have a longest hospital stay, and the patient will experience a lot of pain and risk. At DigiHealth, we believe we can help these patients by listening to their gut. Firstly, we developed this device that is worn by the patient, which listens to bowel sounds as they recover. It also collects important other data, such as heart rate and heart rate variability. This data is combined with data collected from a patient app, which collects important events like symptoms, food intake, and toileting. We combine this data and analyze it to give the doctor a real insight into how their patient is recovering. The benefits of this solution are that 1, we will enable remote monitoring of the patient. 2, we will reduce the length of the hospital stay. And 3, we will prevent these emergency surgeries. However, we believe that our solution goes much further than just post-operative recovery. Up to 43% of people worldwide experience bowel disorders, and we believe we can help these people by listening to their gut. If you're an investor or a clinical partner, let's talk.
Thank you, Lyle. I'd now like to welcome Mathieu from Même Pas Peur.
Hello?
Hello.
Good. That's a lot of people. So, imagine having to manage incurable and life-threatening disease in your child every single day. That's the reality of 1,000 families in Switzerland, like mine, facing type 1 diabetes in their child. So it's exhausting, overwhelming, and leading to unemployment, burnout, and even divorce in 87% of cases. This situation occurs every time, and the primary cause of this situation occurs every time we need to entrust our child to someone who doesn't know how to manage the disease, like schools, for example, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week.
And that's why we created Diabète Même Pas Peur, making type 1 diabetes management training as simple as possible. Our digital companion makes it easy for parents and healthcare professionals to create quickly a fully personalized training for anyone, such as teachers, babysitters, or even grandparents. In just 30 minutes, caregivers will have all the knowledge and the confidence needed. And that's what makes us unique. Our training adapts to each child's unique needs, their medical devices, and also the specific care situations, all in just a few clicks. But there's more. Our solution has the potential to support families facing all kinds of chronic diseases.
With Future of Health program, we really want to push our solution to the next level, while at the same time exploring insurance coverage, so our solution could be accessible to anyone without any extra cost. So your support can really help us to change lives. So if our story resonates with you, please come to talk to us. And keep in mind that together we can turn and transform the challenges of chronic childhood diseases into life-enriching experiences. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. And now we would like to welcome the last startup at level 1, Students Pool with Isa. Isa, welcome.
Hello. Swiss healthcare needs help. Our population is getting older and we need more nurses. This crisis manifests in long emergency room waits and increase in medical errors directly impacting you and your loved one. Hospitals cannot find enough staff. At the same time, health students cannot find a good part jobs that match with the studies. Many end up working in unrelated fields like retail or hospitality instead of hospitals. This is a waste of their skills. Introducing you our solution Students Pool, an app that directly connects a healthcare institution with health students for short jobs. This solution helps address staff shortage by quickly filling roles such as nursing assistants or aides. It also gives students a useful experience in healthcare. My name is Isa. I'm a newly graduated nurse and having experienced this challenge during my studies. I create Student Pool to help. My team includes another nurse and a developer, and we will love to bring someone new into a project for sales and marketing. And our goal with the program is to create and test very quickly the foundation of a software. And with both, with the health institution and with the students to have some feedback. And also we would like to gain invisibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Isa. We're now moving to level 2, and the first startup in level 2 is Bone Screen. Welcome.
Yes, hi everyone. So what if I tell you that about a quarter of everyone sitting here will have at least one osteoporotic fracture in their lives? Scary, right? So what's even scarier is about 85% of these fractures will go undiagnosed, because the diagnosis methods are bad, and just we are not aware of bone health. And Usually, after a fracture occurs, the cost to treat it is about 41,000 euros in Europe. This is where we come into picture. What we are trying to create is a platform that will look at every image ever scanned to extract bone health-related biomarkers to detect the presence of chronic diseases such as osteoporosis, and really important diseases such as bone cancer. So our intention is that if we can detect early enough the onset of these diseases, we can put the patient in a preventive treatment path so that the patient can live a long and healthy life. That's what Danny was saying, right? He wanted to be immortal if he was active. We have already come quite far in this journey. We have built SpineQ, the first tool in this platform, which works with spine CT images. It'll be CE certified and ready for market by the end of this year. With the help of Future of Health, what we want to build is a tool that not only looks at spine and CT, but any image which has a bone in it. Could be legs, could be hip, could be head. Not only that, but we want to validate this tool in a health service in a real hospital environment to not only improve it, but also clinically validate its efficiency. And last but not the least, we want to work with the amazing mentors from EPFL, CSS, and all the partner networks to refine our business model and all the other places where we probably need improvement, and we just don't know. Thank you.
And now we will move with Dipsy and Matteo. Matteo, welcome.
Okay, so we currently have 40 million people who are clinically depressed in Europe. Half of them are not going to get an effective treatment for their disease. And they're not getting an effective treatment plan because the treatment plans are based on the symptoms of the patients. And we at DeepSci are the first one who analyzes the brain biology of the individual patients, and we correlate it with the effectiveness of the treatment. So we analyze the EEG, the electroencephalogram, and the electrocardiogram, and we help psychiatrists match the right treatment to the right patient. I'm happy to announce that we are on the market. We are live in Switzerland. We have helped over 500 patients, and we also have generated almost 50,000 francs in revenues. So we are quite happy about that. And the good thing is also that our solution not only helps patients, but also helps to reduce cost in the healthcare system. So we look forward to talk with the insurances and also with investors as well about this topic. So many thanks, and looking forward.
Thank you, Matteo. The last startup in level 2 is Enhanced. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Sam Scott. I'm the CEO of Enhanced. For people living with diabetes, daily blood glucose management is like walking a constant tightrope. If your bloods go too high, you risk long-term complications. If they drop too low, it could be coma or even death. For people living with diabetes, they have to make over 200 additional decisions every single day to manage this balance. It puts them at enormous risk of burnout. Exercise is a powerful but often overlooked tool for diabetes management, but resources to help manage this and guide people around safe and effective exercise is lacking. This is where Enhanced comes in. We are building a comprehensive digital solution to guide people living with diabetes around safe and effective exercise. Our patient-facing app helps people living with diabetes to plan and organize their exercise sessions. Our clinical-facing dashboard helps healthcare professionals to organize their clinics and provide the right level of guidance. Both of our products are currently in beta, and we've already built key partnerships with industry leaders such as Dexcom and the DearFit initiative across Switzerland. With the Future of Health grant, we will use the money to build a new premium AI-powered feature within our mobile app, which will be specific, tailor-made exercise programs for people with diabetes. And this will use data from exercise wearables and continuous glucose monitors. At Enhanced, we are revolutionizing diabetes care through exercise to help people live longer and happier and healthier lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So we are now ready for the last level, level 3. And I would like to ask Precision Care and Anis to come on stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anis Gorbel. I'm co-founder and CEO of Precision Care. I want to start by, on behalf of Precision, sharing our gratitude. We are very grateful for having access to the grant, as it will be crucial for our market growth. So how Precision empower cares and caregivers? If we think how nowadays we rely on weather forecast to take decisions, whether to optimize navigation costs or to pick the right clothes, or for safety when it's about sailing or flying, actually that's exactly what we do at Precision Care, as we provide for healthcare facility managers, doctors and nurses with tools to predict, to forecast their clinical activities. What is the expected clinical workload, the clinical trajectory of patients and the needed resources up to 48 hours in advance so that they can save decrease cost of care and increase patient safety. We do that by leveraging data at the point of care, by collecting data from different sources in real time, and using AI to push actionable insights. In the first study, we estimate an increase of care capacity by 26% without additional resources in one care unit. So after 4 years of R&D, having access to more than 300,000 patient database, we're now deploying in our first hospitals in Switzerland, and it couldn't be a better timing for us to have the grant, as it will be a tool, precious tool to measure and communicate effectively on our results and pave the way for our international and nationally and international growth. Thank you.
And now the last startup of our new batch, SoundDream. Welcome.
All right. Okay, so last one before the apéro, so that's not easy. All right, so I'm Roberto, the founder and CEO of SoundDream. And what we do in SoundDream is that we use AI to analyze the voice of babies. So not everybody knows, but actually the voice of babies is actually the strongest and most reliable digital biomarker, non-invasive, of every single one of us in the first year of our life. So what we do is that we analyze that voice, we analyze those digital biomarkers, and by doing so, we can extract all possible information from the baby simply by their voice, so totally non-invasively. For example, early signals of potential pathologies or developmental disorders. We can analyze the development of the baby, the health, their needs, and so on, every single time that they cry. So this is the equivalent of having the result of a very detailed blood screening on your little one, on your baby, whenever they cry without leaving the home, right? So totally non-invasive. What we do is actually that we integrate our technology for the analysis of voice in devices that people have already at home. So they don't even have to buy devices or anything. We integrate in stuff that they have already at home, and we can get those digital biomarkers, that voice, to provide relevant insights to the baby. We actually collaborate already with some of the largest baby brands and hardware companies in the world. That includes, for example, Philips Avent, which I guess everybody knows, Maxi-Cosi, and so on. And we collaborate also with the largest hospital and research institutes in the world. For example, in US with Stanford, in Europe we collaborate with Utrecht, in Spain with Clínica Maternitat Barcelona, and many other hospitals around the world. Good, so with this grant, what we want to do is actually to get closer to our mission, that is basically to change the life of babies anywhere in the world. We can actually dramatically change and improve the life of families and babies whenever just listening to their voice. And this is our mission. Thank you.
So, these are the 8 new startups that we have selected. Congrats to all of you. Please once again give them a big round of applause. We from the Future of Health Grant program team very much look forward to working with you, providing you with the resources and supporting your progress. We hope that 1 year from now, when we meet again in this place, we'll have some exciting stories about our new startups to share. The event is now coming to an end, and before we join the apéro, I would like to thank everyone who made this event such a fantastic event today. First of all, a big thank you to all of you, to all the guests who joined us today in exploring the topic of longevity. A special thanks to Dani Bak, who jumped in last minute and provided a very interesting keynote. A big thank you also to Blaise and all our panelists for the fascinating discussion. And last but not least, a big thank you to all the partners who support the Future of Health Grant. Without your continued and valuable support, this program would not be possible. Thank you.
So, and now time for the nutrition break with a small surprise from EPFL Startup Timeline and also, of course, a more traditional aperitif. But before you go, we would like to encourage you to stay in touch. So download our program brochure for more information, follow us on social media, or just drop us an email if you have any thoughts or ideas. We hope you will join us into building this future of health. So thank you very much for coming, and see you all at the aperitif.